right. Well, thanks for calling, Krista, and lots of luck regardless of how things turn out.
Good luck to you, yeah.
And I hope you get your dream family.
We need more atheist parents, that's for sure.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
See you later. So we've also got, okay, that's line 2. That would be Mike in Little Rock, Arkansas. Are you there?
Yeah, thanks for taking my call.
Hi.
Yeah, my question is about the lead up to, I guess, a potential Richard Dawkins, William Lane Craig debate. I don't know a whole lot about this. The only thing that I've seen was one time that Richard Dawkins was asked, why don't you debate William Lane Craig if he's known, as being the best, and you're kind of one of the most known for the other side? Shouldn't we have the best go up against the best and have a debate? Why won't you debate him? And on that video, he gave 4 reasons. The first one was that William Lane Craig was not a bishop, cardinal, pope, or archbishop, but he's debated other people who weren't also. He said that he was a creationist, but he's debated other creationists. And he said that his only claim to fame is that he's a professional debater, which is far from true. He's an excellent debater, but he's a double PhD. He's been a professor for over 30 years, written over 30 books. He gets published in secular journals. And then the other one, the last one, was, excuse me, he said, well, I'm too busy, which, of course, if you're debating other people, it's hard to make that argument. But I was wondering if you knew.
Well, Richard Dawkins has been burned a number of times. Do you want to?
Well, I don't really necessarily. I think that Richard Dawkins is an excellent writer, and I think he's good in solo presentations. I've heard a number of discussions with him where he sort of frustrated me by not going where I would go. I wouldn't want to over-elevate Richard Dawkins as like the best possible person to be out there. And I've heard William Lane Craig go on debates, and he's extremely full of shit and really good at it.
By the way, there are folks in the atheist community of Austin, I think Russell would be one of them, who would be willing to debate William Lane Craig. And so, we're not shy. We'll do it.
But yeah, I'm
what are
interested in
Russell's
that sort of
credentials?
What?
Well, what are Russell's credentials?
I'm about as qualified in science as William Lane Craig is.
You got 2
Those
PhDs?
are my. What are his PhDs in?
Math and philosophy. It's about religion. It's a debate about
right.
God.
So as I said, I'm about as qualified to talk about science as William Lane Craig is.
And so,
but we know as much about theology as he does. So.
Right. So I'm not particularly interested in the point about what 2 champions would best represent us. Do you have a particular thing that William Lane Craig says that you think is a particularly strong demonstration of the existence of God?
Assuming that's the topic, right?
Yeah, no, it's not really. I just called to see why. I guess my question was why would not if Richard Dawkins, do you personally believe that he is the best person to represent the atheist community? I'd probably acknowledge that too, but the question is why is he avoiding him and then giving false reasons why?
Well, I don't know or care much. You'd have to talk to Richard Dawkins' PR guy. Or Richard Dawkins.
I think that a lot of these debates that I've seen have been very, very frustrating because they seem to be won or lost or played based on rhetorical games rather than facts and proper debate techniques.
Right.
And that's just super frustrating to me.
I've actually written extensively about creationism debates on the Atheist Experience blog, and I think a lot of things happen frequently that more experienced debaters ought not to fall for. For instance, the topic is frequently very loaded in one direction.
Or changed at the last minute. They play games like that. Right,
changed at the last minute. There was a debate we saw between Michael Shermer and a couple of other guys where Michael Shermer got about 20 minutes to speak and the 2 other guys collectively got like an hour-long PowerPoint presentation between them. And I think that a lot of times these debates do wind up being sucker games. and need to be set up very, very carefully in advance, because it always seems to be the religious people who are setting the venue and deciding on the topic. So I would be interested in a Dawkins-Craig debate, but I think that it would be a good idea for the terms of the debate to be really carefully defined ahead of time.
Yeah, no, and I definitely, what you say could definitely be true as far as, setting up a, like a dishonest debate, and of course I'd be against that. Now, my call was about William Lane Craig. Do you have any reason to believe that he has done this in the past?
That who, William Lane Craig?
Mm-hmm.
I wrote about, I've listened to a bunch of these debates and they all kind of blur together, but I do specifically remember listening to a William Lane Craig debate and writing about it on the blog. So, you'd have to track that down. And,
atheistexperience.blogspot.com.
Right, and search for William Lane Craig, and email us at tv@atheist-community.org if you have more comments about that afterwards.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thanks for calling.
Who else we got?
We have Malcolm in Austin. We're getting a good number of local callers today.
Well,
Malcolm?
Yeah.
Hi, you're on.
What's up?
Yeah, I was wondering, why is it so hard for y'all to believe there's no God?
Well, some evidence would be useful.
To believe there is a God, you mean?
Yeah, okay, we're on this earth, right?
As far as I can tell, yes.
And
Yeah, our position is very simple. Until there is sufficient evidence to believe something, you should not believe.
well, look at this. You look at the earth from outer space.
How about the trees?
There's nothing that's really holding it up. So, and we're the only...
It's a gravitational balance.
We're the only planet in the universe that has life.
That we know of, yes.
Okay.
On it,
Do you? Okay, wait a minute.
Check this out.
Back
you got
up.
different races. You got blacks, whites, Japanese, Mexicans. You ought to
and different
understand,
species, too.
Somebody was in charge of this. We're like ants, and God is looking down on us, right?
You've seen God?
You say,
Russell, stop
there's
him.
no God, but there is a God. And my prayer for
Can
you
you
is...
Can you back up
one
for a
day
second?
you
Can we
will
go
be
back to the
saved.
first thing you said?
And you-
You're on hold. I will give you a minute to realize that. Hello. The first thing you said was that there's nothing holding the Earth up. You realize how gravity works, right? Wait, what line were we on? 2? Hello? Are you still there? Hello?
The show?
Hello?
I think it was 3.
Oh,
Pause
sorry.
it. Pause it. Yeah.
Are you there?
Yeah, I'm here. My phone is breaking up.
Okay. Sorry, I had to put you on hold for a second so we could go back to the first thing you were talking about.
Yeah, you don't get to make 500 points before we respond.
Right. First of all, you said there's nothing holding the Earth up. Do you get how gravity works?
Yes, I understand that.
Okay, you understand things don't get held up in space. The only thing that defines whether something is up is if it's being pulled towards a very massive object. So there's nothing to hold it up from, okay?
There is no up in space.
Have I lost you?
No. keep going.
So the Earth is orbiting around the sun, and there's an exact equal pull between the sun's gravity pulling it in and the Earth in its centrifugal force pulling it out. And so that's what's holding up the Earth. So it's very easily explained by Newtonian gravity.
If I could make this a broader point here.
About knowing this, why can't we create one ourselves, the universe? You
Because sentient beings do not create stuff like that.
Who don't create things like that?
Sentient beings. There isn't any indication that those kinds of things get created by intelligence. In order to establish that that sort of thing could happen, you would have to first demonstrate, you're going about this backwards, you would have to first demonstrate that there is this gigantic, all-encompassing mind that can do something like create universes,
Well,
and
I
then
believe
you could
did
give
that
it
before
credit.
with your science project, didn't you? But God did the real thing, huh?
But
That's
you
your
haven't-
claim.
Yeah, that's what you're saying, but you have no reason
There's
to back
no evidence
that up.
for that.
Man, look, but anyway,
You know,
like I
it
said, I'm gonna
sounds
pray
it
for you
sounds like a
guys,
good story,
and,
you know, but that's all it is.
well, hey, that's what you believe. But I mean, you know, I'm not mad at you guys, but I'm gonna pray for you because one day you will get to see God. We all will get to see Him.
Okay,
And,
well, I will sacrifice a goat for you. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, there's lots of things we could have said
I
there.
lost the caller page. Let's see. Line 1 would be Jeremiah in San Antonio.
Yeah,
Hello?
that's me. Hi. Yeah, I was the lady who called in saying, you know, what if she adopted a kid who was Christian?
Uh-huh.
My cousin she's in that same situation. She married a guy who,
Oh, good. Enlighten
he's an
us.
atheist, but he was in the military, and his wife is very much not an atheist, and she was like, you know, really, really religiously raising her.
Okay, so
And,
so you had it was a situation where the parents had different religions, right? So it's a bit different than the caller.
My cousin's husband, he's also, well, he calls himself agnostic, but same thing. But the daughter, you know, she kept like, you know, no, I'm a Christian, because they didn't go to church, you know, and her mother did, but, you know, my cousin, her stepmother, and her father don't.
Mm-hmm.
So what my cousin did was she said, all right, well, if you want to be a Christian, you need to know what that actually means. So she started this bi-weekly Bible study with her, and she started at Genesis 1, and she only made it halfway through Genesis, and she's kind of stopped calling herself a Christian.
Well, you know what they
Oh,
always
that's
say,
delicious. I love it.
reading the Bible is the best cure for Christianity.
Yes, that's Isaac Asimov.
She was reading the stuff, and she was like, well, why does this say women are less than men here? And why is, she kept pointing out how unfair it was to women.
How awesome.
It's her daughter, and she was like, I'm not less than a man, and my cousin was like, yeah, that's what we've been saying.
Right. That's why my
That is
advice
so awesome. I love
don't
it.
fear to let your kid be exposed to church environments and especially don't fear to let them read the Bible. I mean, bear in mind that until Protestantism came along, a big thing in the Catholic Church was preventing people from reading the Bible themselves.
Right.
You know, part of the big deal about the Reformation was that Martin Luther did a lot toward making the Bible accessible to everybody, and you know, what do you know? Right after that came the came the Enlightenment,
Right.
where you had a bunch of people like Thomas Jefferson
Actually read the thing.
and call it out for all the nonsense in it.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Awesome. Well, we like this little
read
kid.
them the
We'd
Bible
like
as
to
a
meet her.
bedtime story. That's what I say.
Okay, that's a great story. Anything else, Jeremiah?
No, that's actually the reason I was an atheist, because, you know, when I was 14, I called myself a Christian, and, you know, my dad kept on me to read the Bible. I didn't want to because I thought it was boring, and so to appease him, I did, and, you know, it started me to be an atheist, so.
Okay. We hear that a lot, actually. Not every atheist goes through that path, but that's a pretty common path, I would say, is that people who are believers go deeper into it, and then they realize that, hey, the deeper I go, the less sense this makes. And I guess I've often said, you know, the more you learn about Christianity, the less sense it makes. And so, yeah, education's a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes, I agree. All right. Well, y'all have a good show. Thank you.
Awesome.
Right,
Thanks for calling.
Thanks for calling, Jeremiah. Bye. We have Ben in Austin. Hello?
Hey guys, how are y'all doing?
Pretty good. How are you?
Pretty good. Hey, I was just wondering, did y'all hear about Christopher Hitchens being diagnosed with throat cancer?
Yes, I have. I hope he gets better.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering, I kind of saw some hypocrisy there when, like, Billy Graham died. You know, you guys, especially Matt, had said some pretty scandalous things about him. And now that
the question is, were they true?
With Richard, or excuse me, it was Christopher. You know, I hear some of the theists saying some scandalous things about that. And
There are scandalous things to be said about him. That's for sure.
Can you give an example? I mean, I wasn't on the show where Matt talked about Billy Graham. Can you? I'm sure I listened to it, but can you remind me what specifically he said?
Like good riddance. I can't take out word for word exactly what he said, but pretty much that was kind of the feel.
Okay, I would not be surprised if people said the same thing about Christopher Hitchens. I know that they feel that way about him.